Have you ever noticed that the moment life finally calms down, you start to panic? You finish the project, your bills are paid, your health is fine, and there is absolutely no immediate crisis to solve. But instead of relaxing, you feel a visceral sense of dread. It feels like the calm before the storm. Your brain starts scanning the horizon, desperately searching for something, anything to worry about. And if it can't find a problem, it invents one. You start obsessing over a conversation from 3 years ago, or you convince yourself that a catastrophe is lurking around the corner. When you finally sit down to rest, your heart is beating faster than it does when you're actually working. Most people call this being a worrier or just having high-functioning anxiety. But psychology offers a much more startling explanation. What if I told you that you aren't anxious because you can't escape pain, but because your brain has actually become addicted to it? Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, we are going to uncover the mechanism of emotional addiction. This might be the first time you understand why happiness feels so terrifying to you. To understand this, we have to look past psychology and into biology. There is a cold, hard neurological truth behind your inability to relax. Your anxiety is not just a thought pattern, it is a chemical dependency. Renowned researcher and author Dr. Joe Dispenza has explained this mechanism in depth. When we feel stress, fear, or anger, our brain signals the body to release a cocktail of potent chemicals, specifically cortisol and adrenaline. These chemicals push your body into survival mode. Your senses sharpen, your energy spikes, and you are ready to fight or flee. In the wild, this saved your life. But in the modern world, if you have spent years in a high-pressure job, a toxic relationship, or a chaotic household, your body has been marinating in these stress hormones 24 hours a day. Here is where the trap is set. The human body is a master of adaptation. When your cells are exposed to high levels of stress hormones for a long time, they adjust. They actually develop more receptors to accommodate this chemical rush. Your body effectively resets its baseline. It begins to identify this high-stress state as normal. So what happens when you finally go on vacation, or have a quiet weekend, or resolve a conflict? Your stress hormone levels drop. And just like a caffeine addict who stops drinking coffee, your body goes into withdrawal. Your cells realize they aren't getting their usual fix of cortisol, and they send a panic signal to the brain. They scream, "Something is wrong. It's too quiet. We need stimulation." So to relieve this physiological discomfort, your brain subconsciously manufactures anxious thoughts. It picks a fight with your partner, or it makes you obsess over the future. Not because those problems are real, but because thinking about them triggers a fresh release of adrenaline. You think you are analyzing your life, but you are actually just feeding your emotional addiction. You are self-sabotaging your peace just to feel normal again. On a psychological level, this fear of peace often traces back to a concept known as hypervigilance. If you grew up in an environment that was chaotic, unpredictable, or emotionally volatile, your nervous system learned a very specific survival rule: calm is dangerous. In a chaotic home, a quiet moment wasn't peace. It was usually the eerie silence before an explosion. It was the moment before a parent lost their temper or a crisis hit. Psychology calls this waiting for the other shoe to drop. For a child in that environment, anxiety was a form of control. If you stayed alert, if you worried enough, you could predict the danger and protect yourself. You learned that if you let your guard down and allowed yourself to be happy, you would be blindsided. As trauma expert Dr. Bessel Kolk writes in The Body Keeps the Score, for trauma survivors, the feeling of safety can actually be a trigger for terror. Your brain misinterprets safety as vulnerability. You would rather stay in a state of familiar stress than risk the vulnerability of an unfamiliar peace. You cling to the chaos because, even though it hurts, it is predictable. And to the primitive brain, predictable pain is always safer than the unknown. So how do you break this cycle? How do you rewire a brain that is addicted to struggle? The most important thing to realize is that you cannot think your way out of this. You cannot analyze anxiety away, because anxiety is the trap your mind uses to keep you busy. You have to work with the body. You have to retrain your nervous system. This involves a process psychologists call titration. You cannot expect to become a chill person overnight. Your nervous system would go into shock. Instead, you need to practice tolerating peace in small, manageable doses. When that familiar wave of anxiety hits during a quiet moment, when you feel the urge to find a problem to solve, stop, close your eyes. Ask yourself one question. Right in this second, am I in immediate physical danger? If the answer is no, try to sit with the discomfort. Feel the restless energy buzzing in your chest or your stomach, but don't attach a story to it. Don't tell yourself something is wrong. Just observe the sensation. Then, try to anchor yourself in a neutral physical sensation, like the feeling of your feet on the floor or the weight of your body in the chair. You are essentially teaching your nervous system a new language. You are saying, I know this quietness feels strange. I know it feels like withdrawal, but it is safe. At first, this will feel excruciatingly boring. You will feel empty. But it is crucial to understand that boredom is not a negative state. Boredom is the sound of your nervous system healing. It is the absence of the chemical rush you have been running on for years. You have to build your tolerance for nothing happening. You have to build the muscle of allowing yourself to be. Anxiety is not a character flaw. It is not because you are broken. It is simply an old suit of armor you forged to survive a war that ended a long time ago. It protected you when you needed it. But you are an adult now. You are safe. The war is over. It is time to slowly take off the armor and let yourself feel the sun. If you want to learn more about how to navigate your own mind and break these invisible patterns, make sure to subscribe. We dive deep into the psychology that explains you to you. Take care.